No.
Hearing
We'll
number
figure it out.
8226 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The hearing is continued from February 26, 2019, at which time the board allowed the permit holder an additional 30 days to comply with the permit conditions. The purpose of the hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to ASUM HISA DBA Bar Infinity to occupy 4747 Morganford as a coffee shop with full drink bar and no cooking, subject to certain conditions, should be revoked. The conditional use permit is numbered as 117786. The conditions in questions are as follows. Condition 3. The applicant must maintain a permit from the St. Louis Building Division for all signage, and the signage shall be approved by the Office of the Zoning Administrator. Condition 6. The applicant shall post a no loitering sign on the building outside and enforce a no loitering policy. The Office of the Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the Zoning Administrator has been presented, the board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then, the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. Your testimony is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on the hearing. The board will notify the conditional use holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit numbered as 117786 issued to ASUM HISA DBA Bar Infinity to occupy 4747 Morganford as a coffee shop with full drink bar and no cooking, subject to certain conditions. Item 3, a letter dated November 20th, 2018, sent to Bar Infinity CO, Kanakee LLC, ASUM HISA, warning of the violations of conditions 2 and 6 that were found upon a site inspection and the potential for a revocation hearing should the violations not be corrected within 30 days of the date of the letter. Item 4, a memorandum dated January 17, 2019, from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator stating that upon that date, the zoning inspector found violations of conditions numbered 2, 3, and 6 of the conditional use permit. This memo includes photographs of the noted violations. And number 5, certified letters dated March 1st, 2019, sent to ASUM HISA, DBA Bar Infinity, and James and Zoling Zuzang Bar Infinity property owners from the board secretary providing notice of today's hearing. The board asks the representative of the Office of the Zoning Administrator to please come forward and be sworn in.
I do. My name is Myra Turner. I'm zoning inspector for the City of St. Louis. Good
Please
afternoon.
proceed with your investigations.
Okay. As of today, all violations have been brought into compliance.
Okay. So at this point, everything has been resolved. We have a no loitering sign. We have a permit in hand for all signage, and they have a no loitering policy.
Yes.
Okay. Questions from the board? Seeing none, thank you very much. If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify to noted conditions have not been complied with, please come forward and be sworn in at this time. Seeing none, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in. I'd like to make a note for the record that the conditional use permit holder is not present at today's hearing. If there's anyone else present opposing this revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, I would like to introduce the zoning inspector's report is item A into evidence for today's hearing. The matter concerning hearing number 8226 is now closed and submitted. The board will now proceed with its regular agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Here.
Director Wilson is not present. Director Hayes.
Here.
Director Augustin is excused. Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards.
Here.
And President Bradley.
Here we have a quorum. I'll call a meeting order.
From the President, contract and bond for letting number 8684 expansion joint structure and exit 18 ceiling replacement T1 baggage claim level, St. Louis, Missouri. Equipment Services Division contract for diagnosis, repair, replacement, and testing of dielectric, electric valves, hose, pressure controls, and regulators on aerial devices and bucket vehicles with Altech Inc. Equipment Services Division contract for certification, diagnosis, fabrication, painting, repair, replacement, and testing of fire trucks and apparatuses with Sentinel Emergency Solutions. Equipment Services Division contract for repair and services of city tow trucks with Chevron Commercial Inc. Missouri Historical Society requests to accept artifact donations from Soldiers Memorial Military Museum, recommends approval. From the Directors of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits for Ameren, Missouri be approved subject to certain conditions as follows: to construct new multiple conduit banks within 10th Street and Cole right-of-way and install a new transformer pad approximately 66 linear feet of multiple conduits and 189 linear feet of single conduit, open trench construction. Extending duct bank from 169 East Graham, Procter & Gamble to manhole approximately 600 feet southwest of Hall Street. Joint recommendation that the following permits for AT&T be approved subject to certain conditions as follows: contractor to access Splice at corner of South Kings Highway and Botanical. Splice is in handhold on north side of Botanical. Bore approximately 15 feet north until UE and out of city right-of-way. AT&T contractor to access manhole at 2122 Madison and bore 1,000 feet south of Cass, then 500 feet east to Cell Tower at 2141 Cass. AT&T starting at intersection of Broadway and Loughborough, heading southwest, place 686 feet in east side of right-of-way of Broadway. New handhold east side right-of-way across the street, 7101 South Broadway. Continue southwest, placement 360 feet. New handhold southwest corner of East Nagle Avenue and South Broadway. Turn east on East Nagle. Cable goes aerial ending point right-of-way in front of 300 East Nagle Avenue. Joint recommendation that the following permits for Charter Communications be approved subject to certain conditions as follows: starting at the existing Charter manhole at the rear of 1325 Washington on Lucas. Charter would like to bore east 207 feet down Lucas and enter into the building at 1307 Washington. Starting in the rear of 3309 South Grand, St. Louis Public Library bore 1,949 feet down the alley between McDonald and Utah to Gustine. From there, turn and bore 431 feet to the pole at the corner of Fairview and Gustine. Starting at 4401 Hampton, St. Louis Public Library bore 166 feet to pole behind the building. From there, bore 1,402 feet down toward Childress. From there, turn and bore 476 feet to the pole at the corner of Childress and Devonshire. Any address is Devonshire Avenue. Starting at 6424 Scanlon, St. Louis Public Library, board 322 feet on Watson toward Bradley. From there, turn and bore 1,988 feet down toward Ivanhoe. From there, turn and bore 437 feet to the pole at the corner of Ivanhoe and Filer in the front of 3283 Ivanhoe, ending address. Starting at the pole located in the alley behind 7501 South Broadway, northwest corner of parking lot. From there, bore 523 feet west of Cone to the alley east of Michigan. From there, turn and bore 2,384 feet north down alley to 6800 Michigan, St. Louis Public Library, ending address. Starting at the pole located in the alley next to 4622 Cleveland, starting point. From there, board 320 feet south in the alley at 2260 South Vandervender, St. Louis Public Library, ending address. From the Director of Public Utilities and Public Safety, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. DD Contracting LLC to consolidate land at 7202 through 20 Arsenal and 7135 through 51 Canterbury in City Block 4857. Washington University to consolidate land at 4353 and 4367 through 75 Duncan in City Block 3904. Lighthouse St. Louis to subdivide land at 11182 Riverview Drive and Outlot 121. Green Street to subdivide land at 29,000 Green Street 29,000 Investor LLC to subdivide land at 3650 Rear Market Street in City Block 2196. From the Director of Public Safety, recommendation that the following festival zones be approved, subject to certain conditions. Clean Zone, St. Louis Cardinals, May 13 through 16, 2019, at Lenore K. Sullivan on the east. Washington on the north, 18th on the west, and Shoto on the south for the women's national team versus New Zealand women's national team. Clean zone to prohibit signage, merchandising, and ancillary events. Cherokee Caravan, Antique and Arts Bazaar, May 27, 2019, at Cherokee Streets, Antique Row, and Jefferson to Limp. Tiny Bar Street Festival at June 22, 2019, at Locust between 10th and 11th. Grub and Groove, August 10, 2019, at Francis Park and Donovan between Lauren and Delore. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Sandra Long, zoning specialist for the city, and I will be representing the building commissioner at today's meeting. Per board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval with conditions is recommended for 5 applications: 3925 Cottage, 3837 Kosciuszko, 4500 Olive, 8118 North Broadway, and 3842 to 44 Olive. I request these recommendations be approved as submitted.
Are there any questions on the conditional uses?
Motion to approve the conditional uses.
Second.
Moved and second to approve today's conditional uses. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson is not present. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustine is excused. Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Conditional uses are approved. Hearing number 8226 for 4747 Morgan Ford, which is Bar Infinity. And basically, what we had was a report from the zoning inspector today that there were a couple of conditions that have been an issue. This was a revisitation from February 26th, and so we gave the conditional use permit holder an opportunity to resolve the problems. It was reported today that there are no longer any violations, so I would recommend that the board do not revoke this permit. And I'd open the floor up for any discussion.
Mr. President, I make a motion that it not be revoked based on the zoning inspector's details and report that all violations have been rectified.
Second.
Motion and second not to revoke. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson is not present. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin is excused. Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, not revoked. I'd like to turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, March 19th, 2019. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Sir. I can't. I wasn't here. Second.
Thank you. Motion and second for approval. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Abstain.
Director Wilson is not present. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin is excused. Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, minutes are approved. Today's agenda, questions or comments on the agenda?
I move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of today's agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson is not present. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin is excused. Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Aye, today's agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.